until we ended up with $106,000 but that's their number that they give us, and they say we can't exceed it.
We can't.
We can't
For-
exceed it?
For
So
budgetary
if-
projections?
For budgetary projections, we cannot
Oh,
exceed
okay,
it.
all right, okay.
What we can do going,
Yeah, they're gonna cap
That's a
it and take
scary
the
thought,
rest.
huh?
Don't give me any ideas.
That-
Surprise you?
No.
Don't give me any ideas.
No. What other concerns?
concerns?
Yeah, we've talked, by the way, at the financial planning team meeting of what a contingency plan would be for a 2011 after-election mid-year cut to state aid. Possibility.
Oh,
So, we're kind of trying to be as conservative as possible, and also not necessarily go out and spend money that could wait until after the first of the year. That obviously wouldn't be salary issues, but.
I'm always fearful of a June 30th cut in state aid. I mean, that honestly, in
I
terms
don't
of,
think
in
that's gonna
terms of,
happen this
in
year.
terms of worry,
That's
is that
frightening.
there's always the
Well,
possibility.
it happened.
I know, it's
Yeah,
not an
well,
election year.
Happened in May, last May.
I mean, the good news is we do have an amount of money that we've set aside to cover a potential cut in state aid for this year. I'm hoping that we can use that for funding infrastructure and road work attributable to the flooding and reimbursement for some of those costs, but, if there were to be a cut in state aid, then that would be the first thing we'd look at, is that amount that we have reserved. It's about $140,000.
I just want to flag another point. If you're
Sure.
looking at the debt stabilization fund, and what we took out as an offset in 2010 was $655. And what's been put in for this year's budget is $463. As you recall, we voted to add $150,000 from debt stabilization into this year's budget. And the little difference is obviously some of our spending that went on in October. So we're just about there. Barring
What,
any surprises.
what, are we anticipating any requests from the school department, in assisting them in closing the gap?
Yeah, I think they'd like to close what appears off the sheet based on the number that have been thrown as $350,000. They talked, when asked, well, what does it mean? Again, they still haven't quite answered the question. They said, well, it's about 6 teachers. But, if it was gonna be teachers, I guess they're figuring $50,000 a teacher.
77,
So what does that mean to the programs? They're gonna be telling everybody that at their public hearing. Because, right, we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Could be 6 teachers,
We've
could be a
asked.
decrease in hours,
We what?
decrease in school hours. They're above the minimum number of hours.
I think one thing I can say, certainly, I don't think anyone's talking about a Wednesday afternoon program like they
More like
had a couple of years ago.
Or like starting early or ending the day earlier.
Yeah.
A shorter period of time.
So, and they're looking to, hopefully, they'll push hard on the unions to accept the insurance program, and that will make some more funds available, although I've cautioned them that we ought to be banking that savings, because 2012, right, even with an economic upkick, will be problematic, because they've got, $260,000 of IRA funding. They've got ADA funding of about 340 plus this new 125.
They have about 600 in non-recurring stimulus monies in their FY11 budget, plus the additional 125. But they have about
Yeah,
7.
that's right, you're right.
About $725,000 it's going away.
In their contracts, increases are gonna mean what for
The
11 and
school
12?
teacher's contract, I can't speak for the others, I think the others are a little fatter. The school teacher's contract for this coming year is 1% increase plus their steps
That's for the fiscal year.
for the fiscal year 2011. This year, that contract,
But the
that
step is worth
agreement,
how much?
the steps are
Average.
worth, well, the steps are almost between 4.5% and 5%. It's about half of the organization is in that category. It was about, I think, now I'm just going from memory, I think it was around $250,000 just for the steps. So it would be more like $500,000, except that half of the faculty was
Already maxed out.
maxed out.
Yeah. This salary line item increase is just over $1 million from their FY10 budget, but a 9 if I did my math right, but a 9.4% increase in salaries, total salaries.
That's 2011?
The FY10 budget had $17,893,000.
You got your school book? Yeah, I don't have mine with me.
17,893,324 in salaries. FY11 budget, 18,978,467 dollars. The increase is $1,085,143 in salary from FY10 to FY11.
They have brought some SEAM programs on board. That added staff, but saved money. That happened this year.
But $100,000 that they took in an income as a result of the SEAM program. So that's in tuitions, putting aside savings of not having
Yeah,
placing.
outsourcing. What's their overall, and again, it's hard to, but what's their overall budget increase amount to, percentage-wise, you know? And again, I know we got the other sources of revenue that supplement it, but as you say, there's going to be $700 and some odd thousand disappearing.
Well, the,
Well,
they're asking for, on the town revenue side, hang on one second.
the budgeting, I believe, is $23,277,000.
23 million, I just figured
23.3?
23, 3, right?
That's their level services budget.
Up from
22.8.
500,000.
The 210 school budget, I guess we've made adjustments, so probably on his sheet doesn't come out.
It may not.
No, it's 22,902, but those adjustments, reflect the real number. I have to go back to the warrant.
But that's only, that's 2.5, that's 2.2%. That's small, as far as what they're looking for.
Well, that's where they're at right now after
Yes,
making some
but
cuts. They-
remember, they've got this additional money that came from ARA. That's what closed the gap, is the additional funds, so.
So you've got that plus the 720,000, so you've got about $1.2 million, $1.3 million.
Yeah,
But, and the but that additional money is not in the 23.3 million figure. That's
no,
only-
but
that's only-
it's gonna,
But I know, it-
'Cause
it's
we're
gonna
gonna
get to 2012,
reduce-
it's gonna come and
Come
drop in
back in
pretty,
next
it's
year.
gonna
Yeah.
drop in pretty quickly, right?
what's not shown here is we haven't, on this revenue sheet, is the, I should be looking at the blue sheet because maybe it has been done. it hasn't. This number doesn't reflect the 125 cut in Chapter 70 that's coming in forms of ARA, but the result is the same. But in terms of the percentage increase over last year, if you're looking at what came out of the town revenue, then it drives that number down even more.
But the pitfall we're facing is in the next fiscal year.
Right, that's a big concern, because you've got that approximately now $750,000. In addition to covering
The
their
salary
growth.
increases
Yeah,
that
right,
they've negotiated already, which will
Right.
carry through fiscal year 2012.
Right, exactly. So that's why I encourage everybody to come to the hearing, ask our questions, so we can determine what other action we might want to take, which we'll discuss at our public hearing.
One thing that was answered at the financial planning meeting of last week is that decrease in the special ed students that were outplaced was already factored into their proposed budget for FY11.
Claimed.
Do we know what that
That's what
number
was
is?
represented.
Yeah, but do we know what that number is?
Well, I think according to what was reported in the paper, it was about, on average, $50,000 per student, and about 12
Yeah,
students.
but that's the paper. I mean, what did the school board say?
They would speak differently, that's when asked. It was-
It's difficult to dig out of the book.
I'm sorry?
It's difficult to dig out of that book, exactly, because they don't have it broken out that way.
It's a,
You know,
I
they
think it's
have,
probably about a $500,000 to $600,000 number.
So we don't really know how much is in that.
No, but it's
Supposedly,
but
I
it's
mean,
$500,000
we
to
have to take their word
$600,000
for it.
savings there. However, we've had to expend some money in hiring new staff in order to save on the
Yeah,
other
there
else.
wasn't-
I think the
it wasn't in
savings,
that-
the savings was
Net.
about, I think Carl Nelson indicated savings was somewhere around, net savings was about $300,000 to $400,000 as a result of it.
and that's one of the reasons why they pulled their budget number down. It's gotten closer to, now it's at the,
Unfortunately, though, you have-
2330.
unfortunately, you have a family move to town that has a child with special needs, and
It's
that gets
unpredictable.
blown out the window.
So, any other discussion regarding the budget at this point?
Okay, just,
I'm
In
not trying to
anticipation-
rush you.
no, I know, and all I'm trying to do is get my arms around a little bit more. If a request comes for us to, I mean, 300,000 or more, to do something other than what we currently have proposed,
Negotiate
including,
the change with the employees' health insurance.
including, what's on this sheet here, that we're anticipating including in our budget, with the savings that we're
Well,
hoping
you
to
you gotta go
realize.
back through, what Greg has done here, the retirements we have to cover.
No, I know. There isn't much wiggle room here. Like it's-
The rest of it's $111,000.
Right.
It doesn't solve that problem. I view, if it's a real problem and it's gonna have a major impact, we're gonna, we'll take a hard look at the, making very visible the health insurance issue, of course. And then we'll have to take a look at other things that we can do and we've done in the past. But I don't think we're ready to do that. I think, what I've told them, and this is what makes this decision-making difficult, is, you've got this shortfall, what are you gonna do? They haven't decided. I suspect they will have decided by next Monday.
Yeah, I don't know what we can do until we see what they're going to outline in terms of what they'll have to do to get to the number that they'll have from the revenues.